Okay, so we're talking about solving absolute value equations. What is the absolute value? The absolute value is a number we can call A, written as the absolute value of A. We have those parallel symbols on the sides, which is the distance from 0. It's always going to be greater than or equal to 0. So let's do a couple of quick problems here. If we took the absolute value of 3, the distance from 0 is 3. Negative 7 would be 7, and 0 would be 0. So let's look at some equations. The absolute value of x equals 6. So we know that the values could be positive or negative 6. If we substitute this back into the equation, we get the absolute value of negative 6 is 6, and the absolute value of 6 is 6. So example 2, let's try the absolute value of x equals negative 15. Well, this is not going to be possible. There's no way to have a number that has a negative distance from 0. So this one's not possible. So let's take a look at a concept here. If we have the absolute value of ax plus b equals c, where x is the unknown variable and a, b, c are given, a would be a coefficient and b and c would be some sort of constant, c must be greater than or equal to 0. Just like in example 2, there's no way to have a negative distance. So to solve this, we're going to separate the absolute value into two equations. We're going to say ax plus b equals c, or ax plus b equals negative c, because the value inside the absolute value could be positive or negative, and then the absolute value would just make it positive. Example 3, the absolute value of x minus 4 equals 9. We're going to separate this into x minus 4 equals 9 and x minus 4 equals negative 9. So we rewrite the two equations, and then we're going to solve for x by adding 4 to both sides. So x equals 13 and x equals negative 5. So step 3, we want to check our solution. So we're going to use the original equation, the absolute value of x minus 4 equals 9, and substitute 13. And we get 13 minus 4 is 9, the absolute value is 9, check. And then we're going to also substitute negative 5, and we get the absolute value equals negative 9, which is 9. So let's take a look at another example. 4. 3 times the absolute value of x is 15. Our first step, we want to isolate the absolute value. Get it by itself on that left side. So 3 is multiplying times the absolute value of x. So I want to do the inverse divide. So I get the absolute value of x is 5. We rewrite it, x equals 5, x equals negative 5. Well, it's already solved for us, so let's just check it, put it back in the original equation, and it's going to work out. We get 15 equals 15 for both. So example 5, we're going to do a little more complicated equation. 3 times the absolute value of 2x minus 6 minus 2 equals 4. So the first thing we want to do is isolate the absolute value. We need to get rid of that negative 2 and that multiplying 3. So let's do the inverse of subtract 2, which is add 2. So let's rewrite the equation. Now we need to get rid of multiply 3. So we're going to divide it. So the absolute value of 2x minus 6 equals 2. Now we can split the equation into 2. So we get 2x minus 6 equals 2, and 2x minus 6 equals a negative 2. Solve for x. So I want to add 6 to both sides, and then I want to divide 2 to both sides. So I get x equals 4 on the left equation, and I'm going to follow the same steps on the right. Many people make mistakes here in thinking that, well, if I get x equals 4, then my other answer is negative 4, but it's not going to work out like that all the time. I actually need to rewrite two equations, solve, and then check. So I'm going to substitute 4 in for x. First, I want to simplify everything inside the absolute value before I bring it out. I get 4 equals 4. Now I'm going to substitute x equals 2 into the same equation, simplify, 4 equals 4, check. Example 6. The absolute value of 4x plus 2 plus 7 equals 5. I want to isolate the absolute value. Now I see I have an absolute value equals a negative number. Well, it's already isolated, so there's no way I can have a distance that is negative 2. C must be greater than 0 or equal to. So that one will not work. Okay, I hope this was useful to you.